but the church did more than anything. I started going to a service called Full Gospel. It was the first time in my life that I ever saw a man worship God. I'm talking about totally worship God. I had never saw it. And I'm a member of a Baptist church. I had never saw a man get in front of the service and worship God with his whole heart. That changed my life. I never was the same. I started going to the service every Monday. We would have a different speaker. And there was other service that I went to, but it just wasn't the same as Full Gospel, because when they came in and I would say I'm going through something, they would grab me and they would pray over me. And these are people that never been in trouble, don't even know anybody incarcerated. But they dedicate their time every week. They come there, they love on us, they pray with us, they grab your hand, they want to know how the kids doing, they want to know what can they do. But we didn't even know what they could do to help us.
Wow.
I mean, we behind bars. I mean, a gate. We don't know, like, what you can do to help us. We don't even know how to help ourselves. So we just wishing and praying for a lot of change and for something different to take place. And I think about as far as the churches, the leaders, district attorneys, judges, they sit in church all the time. So they sit there.
And that's the problem. They just sit there.
I've met them. They sit there. But the thing is, when they're there, I think that the conversation needs to be had. Because we know what they do. We know that this is their job. And we know, I think the conversation as far as forgiveness, because a lot of times when I was convicted, a judge that gave me my bond, his son had died from an overdose of drugs. So he was giving people with drug charges 20 years on one crack rock. 30 years. I mean, the max, because he was so angry. And that should be unconstitutional. And he sits in the church. So I say when it comes to our churches, the conversation needs to be had with the leaders in the church. That's how I look at it, because these are the people that represent the church every day. Because they'll say, oh, I'm not discriminating. I'm a Christian. But what are the Christian values? Number one, forgiveness. And understanding that things happen way before you lead up to this moment. You don't wake up in the morning and say, oh, I'm going to kill somebody. You have to go all the way back and understand what brought this person. And incarcerating people is not fixing it. It doesn't fix the problem. It's like a Band-Aid over a wound. But, I mean, there are programs that help and there are programs that don't. So the conversation with the church is, have that conversation. Approach the issue with our leaders.
But we have to have more conversations like this, and more people standing up behind them and with them and supporting them, letting them know that, I'm here for you. So if you do the right thing, I'm here. But if you don't do the right thing, I'm here to take you where you need to go. And that's straight to prison, probation, for wherever the consequences leads them to. But we have to have more open conversations. And to the church, on the church behalf, I truly think we need to come into the church and have the conversation. We can have the conversation anywhere we want to, but you need to come into the sanctuary and have the conversation. Because like Chico said, you ask the question, do the survey, ask how many people sitting out in the congregation, do you know anybody, or even heard of anybody that didn't serve time? Everybody in that church will raise their hand.
Churches obviously are leaders in this nation, have been since the inception, and they carry a very, very, at times, improperly influential role on our society. And when churches basically seize the role of the experts on forgiveness, the experts on redemption, the voice on mercy, but then refuse to provide it, they're actually setting the example for all of society. Down with mercy, down for forgiveness, down with redemption. And if they're not willing to do what Jesus would do, they're just in the wrong business. And they need to get out of the way and let other people be. And I really think, we used to have a thing in prison where, if the Mexican guys were doing something, you'd want a Mexican guy to to handle that. If a white guy's doing something, white guy better handle it. If a black guy's doing something, black guy better handle it. Because if a white guy's got to handle a black guy's business, well, now we got like bigger issues, right? And so sometimes you have to talk to your Chico, talk to your people. Now I'm saying in churches, you got to talk to your people. Because some of the most virulent discrimination has always come from the churches in this country. You know, some of the greatest things, some of the worst things has come out of the churches. And there's some real negative leaders that are using God and Christ as their banner to do bad things. The Klan was a Christian organization, we all know that. You know, we have to keep that history alive and realize that we are always living in history. 50 years from now, what are they going to say about this era? Are they going to say we fought hard enough, or are they going to say that we were blind to what was right in front of our face? So I do think that the churches, we need the churches more than ever.
One of the things, that I'm aware of is my own fear of those in prison at times, or those who I don't understand, those who I'm not familiar with. Before I came over here this evening, my office is in the Methodist Church, not this church, but the statewide office is downtown. And I got in I emptied some trash and got to get in my car, and I noticed this guy just sitting down on the corner of the parking lot. And I immediately raised my blood pressure or whatever, but I got in my car and started out, and then I saw this woman coming out, and I don't know, maybe I was putting stuff on him that I shouldn't have, maybe he, but I'm just saying that I think when I'm trying to understand church members, and I think church members sometimes are afraid because they don't know, but not everyone's like a Checo Yancey either, who comes out of prison, or wherever they are, and I'm working to try to see how can I change myself, but at the same time Stephanie knows that part of what we're working on is how do we change the mentality of people in the churches, and I'm just saying that I face it almost every day, and my wife and I went to get an ice cream cone the other night at Baskin & Robbins. We came out, it was dark, and got in the car, and I looked out my windshield, and the guy was practically, at the windshield. And he had this really weird face looking, and so I don't know why. I seem to be attracting people who can upset me.
It's the collar, Father. Bernie used to say that in Angola. It's the collar.
I was just a homeboy in a shirt and some shorts. But I'm just saying that, just confessing, I got to work on myself too with this.
Well, I think we all believe in public safety, but I'm in prison a lot.
Yeah.
And when I leave prison, I'm glad there are some people that are staying in prison for public safety.
Right.
You want them treated fairly, you want them to be provided opportunities and all, but we all believe in public safety. And somewhere along the line, I think society or churches think you're either like this or you're like this. You're either for victims or you're for offenders. You can't be for both. If you're for victims, then you're anti-offender. If you want to advocate for offenders, you must be a bad person. You're against victims. And that's where a lot of our lawmakers are right now. A lot of our members of the parole board, pardon board, because they don't want to come across as being anti-victim. And, we're a very black and white society.
When it's one of their family members, then they share the same feelings, or friends, or whoever. So sometimes we have double standards. We see it this way if it's on this side of the street, and then we see it that way if it's on that side of the street. When in reality, wrong is wrong, and right is right. Wrong is wrong if everybody does it. Right is right if don't nobody do it. It doesn't change. And until we can accept that as church people, members of society, and we're probably going to always struggle. And I get told that my job, I meet all kind of people. And of course, I think about my own safety, but how does someone look who's going to hurt you? They could be smiling at you.
Right, right.
We don't know.
We don't know.
And so when we try to make sure that we were balanced, I guess you could say, which is tough. Then we may be able to make some differences, but you know, we all have our own prejudices. We're teaching Sunday school yesterday, I think it was, and we were talking about something that Jesus said. These folks were having a fit because they were eating corn in the cornfield.
Yeah.
And he asked them, he said, if your sheep was in the ditch, what would you do? And of course, nobody answered, but we all know what the answer was. And the same thing's true in any situation we find ourselves. If it's you and yours, oh well, it's a terrible thing, but it'll be all right. But if it's me and mine, everybody should rally together and let's do something. And until we get past that kind of thinking, we're going to always be right where we are.